Hello and welcome back. Glad to have you here. So I just wanted to do a video today on my new graphics card. I got a new graphics card, an RTX I'm sorry, 3090. I got it used secondhand, about 1100 bucks after you add the new power supply I had to get in to get with it. Uh, so I got a new GPU, and I wanted to show off the speed differences in this compared to my old card. And I wanted to go over a little bit of what I've been building with AutoGen a little bit, just making custom agents, some kind of basic ones, reinventing the wheel a little bit, but still fun to experiment with and play with nonetheless. Right here on this one, this was take two. I didn't have my microphone on the last time I recorded this, but you can see this was my prompt. I'm running Hermes 2 Pro Llama 3 7 billion 8 billion parameters, 8-bit quantized version in LM Studio right here. It's loaded in GPU. You can see over here offloaded GPU max. You can see down here 33 GPU layers. It used 51 tokens a second, and it took a quarter second to generate the first token, and about 9 seconds overall. So um, yeah, that's all of. I don't haven't messed with a whole lot of these other settings. You do not want to keep the entire model in RAM though. I don't think because that will offload it to CPU. I think, or rather cancel out the GPU offloading. I think. In any case, these are my settings. I'm just going to regenerate this, and you can see how fast it is. So this is about 50 tokens a second, and it was pretty instant. I think that there is some kind of caching layer in these LLMs because I've noticed that they are quicker. See, this was uh, less than a fifth of a second, whereas the last one was almost more than a quarter second. And look, it took less time to generate too, 7.7 seconds. So I think that there's some kind of caching layer going on in these LLMs. This got me 48 tokens per second though. So maybe it gave us fewer tokens overall. But yeah, so yes, it's great. LM Studio is a wonderful product, by the way. It's a free software and it just runs these LLMs so well. I'm gonna switch over to server view and I'm gonna show you some of these other commands or this program that I wrote. And I'll go over the commands that you need to execute and some of the code as well. The program that I wrote is just an AI agent chain that will take in your query and it will search or it will be able to search a certain directory on my hard drive for relevant content in text files. I've only got it set up for text files right now. Again, I kind of reinvented the wheel so I could figure out some of this stuff. Uh, and uh, and so yeah, it's kind of basic. It's not as nice as some of these some of the out of the box features are for like RAG and such. But yeah. Um, so it basically searches my local documents for whatever my query is. Um, let's go look at the code real quick. This is generated code right here. This whole file is generated. You can see all of these were generated. This is actually the appropriate. This is you can see my history right here. Uh, I was I have Russia and Ukraine text document analysis of the war in this folder, and I was testing it. I should have it out. I should have it to write the output to file as well. But here's another one, another generated file. You'll see it's the same as here. Sometimes it will regenerate the exact same file. I don't understand some of that stuff. Um, yeah, but this is regenerated from this file, which is how you define your actual tool in AutoGen. So this is what I named it, find doc or whatever. Probably need to rename it, but make sure your doc string is accurate, uh, so that because that's what helps the AI know how to use the function because it's all natural language. That's the secret. That's the big secret. Uh, then basically it copies everything in this function into a new file, this temporary file or whatever, and it's cached cached file or whatever, and it adds the appropriate imports with this decorator based on this decorator right here. Um, is this the right one? Hold on, right here. You specify which imports that you need right here. There's some bugs in this. You can't do the import from module. So in Python syntax, from module import blank as blank, it's broken. Or at least what I've got is I've not been able to get it to work by following their documentation. So I don't know what's up with that, and I haven't debugged it. You can see, look, I was trying to import it and use it earlier. In fact, you'll see it right here. That's why all of this is commented out. Hopefully you guys can all see this. If you can't, uh, well, let me know. I can maybe blow up my fonts for next time. You can always also pause it if you want to actually see the code. I will put also the code, the GitHub code for this. You can see this is all version controlled, green and blue and no color. You can, I'll put the GitHub link in the video description. It's the same project that I've been working on for a while, just kind of dumping all of my AI experiments in there, and maybe people find them useful. But real quick, this is just my RAG function right here. This I wrote and tested independently, so this is also basically a um, standalone script that works. Probably should figure out how to test it. I don't know how to unit test these things. I'm sure there's a way somehow. In any case, this is my RAG function, find doc, and this is my main file where I basically I define all of my um, agents in this file, and they're all just these LLM prompts, system messages. That's the system messages where all the magic happens. It's crazy. Your name is code executor. Your only task is to execute code. Now, I cannot quite get them to follow these things literally at times, but they get pretty close and close enough to work. So you can see I had to specify a couple times in the system message that this is how they get that find doc function. This is the appropriate Python dot notation for it. Also, I did notice recently that you can do this. You can call this register for execution, which gives that code runner it registers this function and under this name. And then down here, you can call format functions for prompt and just add to your system message, and it will auto generate, I think probably just through some basic templating language stuff. It will generate your function into the system prompt. It will inject it correctly. So you can see here, I actually defined it. I could take this out now, but I'm going to leave it just for stability's sake because I don't know what will happen. These things can be kind of delicate. Uh, yeah. Also, the state transition is a real tricky thing to get right. I still don't quite have this right, but I think that this is pretty similar to other things I've seen. Uh, I have a code writer, then it goes to a code runner, then it goes to either back to the code writer or to the analyzer. And then if the analyzer is the last person or agent talking, um, it finishes the state, I guess. I don't know exactly how this works. I read the documentation, don't quite understand it, but yeah, there's room for improvement here. And then we just kind of define the group chat manager and we invoke it all. User initiate chat. We use just some templating to inject our prompt, and we'll see the script right now. I'm gonna go to the server mode and clear these logs. I'm gonna go to the terminal. I have to set execution policy in this is on Windows, Windows 11 actually, and you have to give your script permissions. That's how it can write to my file system. So this is very dangerous. Don't do this if you do not trust an AI to write and execute code on your computer on your behalf. So, you can interrupt it, of course, at just about any point. I don't know where I left off. Uh, so my microphone cut out again. We'll find out on the edit where I left off, I guess. Uh, I'm just going to go over this. This is I was blabbering a little bit anyways, so I'll just cut that part out. Uh, anyways, we're going to go over this code a little bit. Uh, this code is what oh goodness. This is the code that I wrote. I've probably had some help with from an AI. This is where we generate our code we define our code executor. So this is gonna give us the execution object that gives us our tools that we have available to us. And we see we work in workspace. You'll see I have a workspace over here. Um, Timeout is just how long you can wait for code execution to timeout. Um, we've got our user proxy agent. These are all just prompts, right? It's English is the new programming language. We pass in config list, which we don't really use a whole lot, I don't think. But in any case, um, uh, I think the biggest one we use it for is the LLM definition, which is down here somewhere. Uh, we'll get to it in a second. So here's we just say your name is user proxy. They can do things on behalf of the user. We define some things like is termination message. I don't know how well this stuff works, but if it sees this phrase in the message from the previous AI, it will know that it should terminate the sequence. I haven't quite gotten this to work exactly right, so I don't know. Um, it cannot execute code. Here's our code runner. We define the code executor. Uh, we say, here's where we pass in our code execution config. Here's our code executor, which we defined earlier. Our config list. Again, I don't know if that's actually used. Here's the description. The descriptions are what the agents know, what they use to know about how to use other agents, right? So they do an introduction. You'll see in the group chat, I say use introductions is true right down here. Um, Send introductions true. Um, so yeah, so that's how they know. Here's the write system message. I don't know if this part if I got cut out earlier or not, but this is where we give this example of how to use the function, and you'll see that these code that they generate, it generates the question based on what it determines is the actual query, and based on the input that it has after several layers of prompt templating, and then we here's the code writer. We just say just write code. Um, Here's the system message for writer. Why is it? Oh, this is it right here. It's this long one. So this is so this is the actual setup of the agent. Then we define this state transition. This is another tricky part that I haven't quite gotten right. Um, eh, if the last speaker is the user, we then go to code writer. Then we go from code writer to code runner, then from code runner to code writer if there's an error in the code that is executing, or if it succeeds, we go to analyzer. Then if the analyzer is the last person, we end things. I don't know if this is per cycle. I don't know how exactly some of this works, but this mostly works for now. Here's where we define our group chat specifications. Send introductions is true. Here's where we give it all of our agents. This is chat history, so you can, I should mess with this a little bit more to experiment with web UI. Yes. So then we just kick off the chat, and here's the prompt templating. We can run it again. Again, I don't know where it was when things cut off last time, but I don't know. Tell me about Donetsk region using your search for local docs feature. I want to know know about, um, I want to know about Ukraine's defenses. So let's see what I mean, it's so fast. It's just ridiculous. So the next region, Ukraine defense, is the query that it came up with. Here's where it's hitting my vector store. This is all part of the embeddings module. If we scrolled up, you could see it mentions that it's the embed text here. Uh, Here you go. Again, man, so fast. Less than a minute. Um, there were ground attacks by Ukrainian forces. Blah blah blah. Let's look back over here. Our GPU does go up to, I don't know what percent that goes up to. Um, but yeah, it definitely spikes there. That's pretty cool though. It doesn't really get hot or anything. I have my case open because when I'm gaming, it gets very hot. Um, but yeah, there you can see a little bit of the spikes. You can see the spikes in the usage from the AI chats. That's so cool. Yeah, this is what I got. Um, I hope that that's useful. Again, like I said, I'll put the GitHub up on the code up on GitHub and update it and add a couple of improvements. But I hope you get something out of it. And thanks for sticking around this long if you did. And see you again later, maybe.